Thunderball, a film so good I fucking can't stand watching it. Wait, what?
It's funny you should say that.
Oh yeah, I'm not done shitting on people's favorite Bond flicks. Far from it. You thought I had a problem with Goldfinger? That's one I actually enjoy watching. Thunderball is a fucking slog. And there goes most of the viewers immediately. But let's talk not about how fucking boring Thunderball is, although that will come into play. Let's talk instead about some bad guys. If you haven't watched the last 3 videos, here's how we're ranking the villains of Bond. Each character who is either a distinct bad guy or actively works against Bond counts as a baddie. We're pretty liberal with the definition around these parts. Each one is ranked out of 5 by their acting, gimmick, style, menace, and plot, with the overall score designating their place on the list. And yes, sometimes I cheat because these are my videos and life is meaningless. Let's talk Bond.
No. I got a better idea.
At number 15, we've got the fish food henchman. He gets stabbed by Bond in a pool, and this is his defining characteristic. He gets a 1.6. I'm not even going to belabor the process. This guy, he gets eaten, and that's what he does. So number 15 at a minimalistic 1.6 out of 5. Fish food henchman. Number 14, JANNI. JANNI is basically the forgettable third wheel to Largo, Thugs, Fiona, VOLPE, and Vargas, a henchman who we'll be talking about far too soon for that to be anything less than sad. Of course, Vargas has the decency to actually die. JANNI, upon seeing Fiona VOLPE killed mid-dance, runs off and is never seen again. Goodbye, JANNI, we hardly knew ye. And he skitters off with a comfortable 1.6. Number 13, SCUBA henchman number 1. This guy tries to kill Bond while our boy is snooping around the Disco Volante. Unfortunately, he's a piss-poor shot, and while his boss watches on, he's brutally taken down by Bond. How embarrassing. SCUBA henchman number 1 sinks with a 1.6. Number 12, the crew of the Disco Volante. I figure I should include this gaggle of knuckleheads, so here they are. In all honesty, putting them above actual baddies like JANNI and that SCUBA dude feels a little cruel, but they win out in sheer numbers. Plus, we get a few cool moments like when they foolishly try to face off against the military. Whoopsie! The crew of the Disco Volante fails to blow us away with a 1.8. Number 11, Quist. Quist is easy to forget. He's the guy who's spying on Bond, directly resulting in this glorious moment where Bond punches Felix in the tum-tum for daring to almost say 007, before saying it himself.
Fine way to treat the CIA.
Sorry about that, Felix, but you're just about to say 007.
Yeah, I guess the guy's supposed to be knocked out, but why take the risk, James? Anyway, Quist is another of a series of boring henchmen in Thunderball, but at the very least he gets a solid send-off. Side note, how fucking great is this shower? As soon as Bond turns it on, it's hot enough to create steam and cause Quist to yell out in pain. Man, the 60s were great! Quist leaves us hungry for more with a solid 2 out of 5. Number 10, Angelo Palazzi. This motherfucker. Angelo Palazzi is the guy hired by Spectre to impersonate a military pilot so that Largo can get his paws on a nuclear device. Pretty simple plan, and of course it includes a pretty substantial payout for Angelo, who of course fucks all that up for a bit of the extra green.
Not enough. $100,000 is not enough. Make it $250,000.
Understandably, Largo isn't too keen on this idea, and well... C'est la vie, Angelo. You were a greedy little fuck. Angelo dies a horrible watery death with a 2 out of 5. Number 9, Professor LADISLAW Kutze? I don't remember how to say his fucking name. Anyway, Kutze.
You Kutz.
Honestly, he should probably be further down this list, but much like the crew of the Disco Volante, he manages to make it ahead of more deserving baddies thanks to some little details. For one, he's a major component of Largo's plan and is the guy hired by Spectre to adapt the nuclear bombs and, I don't know, do all the tech shit. He's a nerd. And as opposed to his book counterpart, KUTZE actually gets a pretty okay arc and eventually realizes he's on the wrong side, thereby helping Domino to escape the Disco Volante before Bond comes along to take all the credit. Oh, and he might actually get brutally killed just so Bond can get a single one-liner in.
I never learned to swim. Never too late to learn.
What a scamp. KUTZE floats away on a 2.2. Number 8, SCUBA Henchmen. Look, there are a ton of SCUBA henchmen in this movie. There's just a lot of scuba in this movie, and it's all boring, but even I have to admit that the actual process of creating these scenes is super impressive. It's just, they're also hella boring and take forever. But these SCUBA henchmen get points for not looking nearly as dorky as Bond, having some cool, albeit simplistic weaponry, and having a fucking underwater war. Sure, it sounds better than it is, but they get points for trying. I don't have a lot of puns for these guys. There you sink. SCUBA henchmen. The SCUBA henchmen swim away with a 2.4.
Vargas does not drink, does not smoke, does not make love. What do you do, Vargas?
Number 7, Vargas. What do you do, Vargas? Yeah, you don't drink or smoke, you just do something, I guess. Like really, you throw grenades with the glee of a child tossing water balloons? You, sneak up on British secret agents and die like a little bitch? I don't know what Vargas does exactly, but in the end, he dies a disappointing henchman. So why is he so high up? Well, a few things. While he does technically screw up the interrogation of Paula Kaplan, he is certainly the most formidable male henchman in the film. He's tall, has a great look, and utilizes that sort of strong silent type performance that really works even if the film doesn't properly capitalize on it. He also manages to technically get the upper hand on Bond multiple times, and in the end, it's Domino's warning to Bond that winds up getting Vargas killed. And we never got to know what he did. Shame. Vargas does his thing with a 2.4.
I think he got the point.
Number 6, Spectre numbers 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 14. Honestly, I don't really have a good reason to place these bureaucratic baddies this high up other than to spurn all the fuckheads that came before. They don't really do anything except sit, act sinister, wear suits, and in one case die horribly. However, they're sitting in a cool lair and in their brief appearance perfectly get across the power of Spectre, although that is mostly due to another element in the room which we'll get to shortly. These Spectre agents do the best to electrify us with a 2.4. Number 5, Count Lippe. Or Lippe? I don't remember. Oh, fuck it. Count Lippe is a Spectre agent who Bond discovers at the clinic where he's in the process of recuperating following a previous mission. Long story short, Bond and Lippe go through a bit of a back and forth. Bond discovers that something's up, Lippe tries to kill him in the lamest possible murder attempt scene in Bond history, and Bond traps Lippe in a steam machine with the heat turned all the way up. These crazy kids. Anyway, Lippe's actions jeopardize Largo's grand plan, and so he sends Fiona Volpe to kill Lippe while he's in the middle of chasing after Bond, which, looking back on it, probably didn't help matters. It might have been a good idea to wait for Lippe to get rid of that damn secret agent before blowing him to smithereens, but what do I know? I'm not a villainous mastermind. Anywho, Lippe's fine, even if his initial attempt at killing Bond is, well, a bit of a stretch. Count Lippe fails to heat up the list with a sad 2.8. Number 4, Emilio Largo, aka Number 2. Now we're cooking with gas. Largo is not a bad villain per se, but he's a shockingly bland one once all is said and done, especially since he's played by the great Adolfo Celli, who did a better job with the rich bad guy on a boat archetype in Mario Bava's Danger Diabolik. As is often the case in these early Bond baddies and in those Italian productions, Adolfo is dubbed. And quite frankly, I kind of prefer the Brooklyn accent he had in Diabolik. Is that weird? Largo's plan isn't half bad, basically extorting the US and UK governments for money in exchange for not bombing the fuck out of a major city. At the time, this was a pretty unique concept, and it's worth noting that Largo almost succeeds. Unfortunately, Lippe just had to try and turn Bond into a Stretch Armstrong doll. Largo's also a very physical villain, although he does make the usual mistake of not just killing Bond, instead trying to feed him to sharks. Stop overcomplicating the murder guy, just shoot him in the back of the fucking head.
I have a gun in my room. You give me 5 seconds, I'll get it. I'll come back down here, boom, I'll blow their brains out.
Largo looks like he can handle himself in a fight and does so near the end, and even kills the greedy Angelo Palazzi himself. It's nice when a villain gets his hands dirty. Sorry, Dr. No, I recognize that this is a bit of a sore subject for you. Largo has a slick look, a dope eye patch, a solid attempt at punching it out with Bond, and a generally sleazy upper-class demeanor that just plain works. Honestly, given a better and less boring movie, he might be higher on the list. As it stands, he winds up shafted by Thunderball's needlessly exorbitant production. Largo nukes his chance at the number 1 spot with a 3.6.
Madame, I've come to offer my sincere condolences.
Number 3, Colonel Jacques BOUVAR, aka number 6. I like men who wear dresses. I gave Jacques BOUVAR the slight lead over Largo because he takes part in my favorite fight in the film. It's a brutal encounter that holds additional historic value because BOUVAR is played by stuntman Bob Simmons, who also portrayed Bond in the gun barrel sequence for the first 3 films. So in a way, this is Bond versus Bond, just with one in a dress. Nowadays, this scene is not exactly politically correct, especially how Bond deduces BOUVAR's identity, but damn, it's just such a good fight, immediately made dumb by that stupid fucking jetpack. Jacques BOUVAR gets a 3.6. Number 2, Blofeld, Thunderball variant. This Blofeld is the most we've seen thus far of the man himself, here again played by Dr. No's Anthony Dawson with Eric Pullman as the voice. Here he's even less of a presence than he was in From Russia with Love, but he's still slick as hell. Nice suit, nice pussy, nice voice, and much like his underlings, he gives us everything we need to understand that Spectre is not to be fucked with. Well, until For Your Eyes Only, but that's a conversation for another time. There's not much else to say about this Blofeld other than the fact that he comes in at number 2 with a mighty 4.2. Number 1, Fiona Volpe. Fiona Volpe is one of the great henchwomen in the Bond franchise, and while she does get dispatched a bit early for my liking, she gets bonus points for setting a bit of a trend of sexy femme fatales taking on Bond, which would be carried over immediately with You Only Live Twice. Luciana Paluzzi is stunning in her role here and proves to be a very capable and badass assassin, and in addition to being another killer redhead in the series, also continues the tradition of Bond's great timing at turning women around just as their heavy is about to strike. Which, you know, at least in this case relies on deduction and close scrutiny of his environment, and not, you know, reflective eyeballs. God, fuck Goldfinger. Due to how close she gets to killing Bond, her talents as a hitwoman seem all the greater, even if, like all 007's nemesis, she likes to play with her food a bit too much. She also gives Bond the ultimate put-down.
What I did this evening was for king and country. You don't think it gave me any pleasure, do you?
But of course, I forgot your ego, Mr. Bond. James Bond, who only has to make love to a woman and she starts to hear heavenly choir singing. She repents and immediately returns to the side of right and virtue. But not this one. What a blow it must have been. You having a failure.
Yas, queen.
Well, you can't win them all.
Thanks to a seductive performance, a great look, and just being a straight-up bad bitch, the number 1 spot goes to Fiona Volpe. Admittedly, her competition was pretty slim in Thunderball, but she still nabs a respectable 4.4.
How far do you go?
You better fasten your safety belt.
And that's it. You disagree with my decisions? Did I miss somebody? I might have. There's a fuckload of characters in this bloated piece of shit. Yeah, let me know in the comments below what you thought. If you hate me, if you love me, if you think I'm just okay, talk to me below. Check out the Patreon. Check out my Twitters and my Facebooks. All those evil social networks. Get on in them. And until next time, go watch a movie.